Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be doing something a little different. With award season coming up here in the next few months, we're going to start seeing a lot more Oscar baity movies come out, movies from acclaimed filmmakers, some performances that are surely going to get nominated. And something that I thought might be helpful to people who don't really keep up with that sort of stuff is running through who the favorites are right now for the major awards of the Academy Awards this year. So today I'm going to be going through a website that I like to use for this called Gold Derby, which basically polls a bunch of industry experts and some editors for magazines and asks them who they think is going to get nominated, who they think is going to win, and apply some odds to that. It's something really palatable that has always been helpful for me. So today I'm going to be going through Best Picture, Best Director, the major acting categories, maybe give some hot takes on maybe some outsiders right now that have a chance of getting in. A lot can change at this point. It's still mid-November. Most of these movies haven't come out yet, and the court of public opinion can play a huge role in what does and doesn't get nominated. But with that being said, we got a lot to get through today, so let's go ahead and start here with Best Picture. So right away, you can see the format that's going on here. You can see the number that predict a nomination, the number that predict a win, the odds right there, and sort of where they trend. This updates, I don't know, like every week or so. So again, a lot of this is subject to change. But with Best Picture right now, I'm just going to go through right now who is slated to get nominated and then people slightly outside. And then, maybe give someone that has 100-1 odds that I think has a better shot. So right now, the number one is The Fabelmans, and that's not a huge surprise. This has been getting a lot of good press ever since it premiered at one of the major film festivals. A lot of people saying that Steven Spielberg's best work. It's one of those movies where it's kind of a autobiography, but not really. There are fictionalized elements in there. I'm excited. Steven Spielberg is my favorite director of all time, so I'm probably going to like it a lot. But I can see this being one of those movies that comes out, has a lot of steam heading into award season, but then ultimately loses that because it's more of a lighthearted story and it's not really challenging the viewer to look at life in a different way. The best example I have of this is possibly Moonlight going over La La Land in 2016. La La Land is one of my favorite movies ever made. It's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. But Moonlight just hit in a very different way, and it challenged the people who watched it to think of life a little bit differently through the lens of our main character in that film. And that ended up going on to win Best Picture, a really small indie movie, whereas La La Land was a fun musical, very colorful, very bright, great performances, but a little bit more lighthearted, and that ended up losing. I remember last year with Belfast, a same sort of movie with Kenneth Branagh more so. Now, Steven Spielberg is one of the most famous filmmakers of all time. He's famous among critics, among the mainstream, so if any director has a chance of sustaining that momentum through award season, it's him. So it's not surprising right now that that's the odds-on favorite at number one. And then at number two right now, we got Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think is amazing. It came out in April. It's been the little indie movie that could throughout this entire year. It really hasn't lost any steam. Everyone that I have spoken to at least say that they love it. It features an outstanding performance from Michelle Yeoh in the lead. Great supporting roles there. And I actually think come Oscar season, unless a whole lot changes here, that this is a real big-time contender to win this award. The fact that it's been able to sustain this sort of momentum all the way through to the end of the year is really a testament to its quality, and it also is a little bit more of a challenging movie. Again, kind of speaking into what I spoke of before, this movie takes a lot of chances. It has really strong, thought-provoking messages in it. Now, I haven't seen The Fabelmans, but for now, I can see Everything Everywhere All at Once being a movie that ends up pulling up an upset win. Then at number three, we have a movie that I haven't heard too much about called Women Talking. And from what I understand, this is a real dialogue-heavy film that has a lot of important messages, great performances, and outstanding direction. I just don't have a whole lot to add to it because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't even watched a trailer. This is one of those movies that I kind of just want to go in cold, just waiting to be wowed. So I don't have a whole lot to add there. I do think it's interesting that it's this high up at this point, though. Then at number 4, we have The Banshees of Inisherin. I saw this movie last week, posted my review last Friday, and I think that this is an outstanding movie. It has the best script of the year, in my opinion, up to this point. Again, I haven't seen some of these movies, or they just haven't come out yet. It features one of the best performances of Colin Farrell's career, one of the best performances of Brendan Gleeson's career up to this point. I really can't sing this movie's praises enough. I think that at this point it gets in there with 10 slots of Best Picture. Maybe it gets edged out for something a little bit more edgy or flashy, but with 10 spots and a script this good and Martin McDonagh at the helm with those sort of performances, I see this as a lock of getting in there in the top 10. I wish it was making more money right now, but that's a conversation for a different day. Right now it's slated at number 4, and I don't really think it's going anywhere. Number 5, I actually mentioned La La Land earlier. That same director, Damien Chazelle, is coming out with the movie Babylon on Christmas Day, I believe. That movie is supposed to be a 3-hour spectacle. It stars Margot Robbie. I think it's Diego Colva in the lead male role. Brad Pitt has a supporting role in it. More on those guys later. But I'm a huge fan of Damien Chazelle. I think he's legitimately made, out of his 3 movies, 2 masterpieces in Whiplash and La La Land. I think that First Man was a really good movie as well, but that kind of got pushed to the side for reasons other than the quality of the film. I don't need to get into that, but I thought I think he has an outstanding track record. He hasn't made a bad movie, and it seems like the studio really gave him everything that he wanted with this. They said, okay, you want to make a movie about old school Hollywood? Here you go. It seems like a mesh of old school Hollywood movies and The Wolf of Wall Street, if that makes sense. The 3-hour runtime, I think, is going to be difficult to make money with because you're competing with a lot of movies on that Christmas Day slot. The movie's going to have to be good. This is either going to be a spectacle that people remember for this year and comes into awards season hot, or it's going to be a 3-hour slogfest that people get tired of and they don't want anything to do with, and it gets dropped out here and doesn't receive hardly any awards. With Damien Chazelle at the helm, I have a lot of hope and very high expectations. I don't think that this will be a slogfest. None of his movies have been like that thus far. And again, I have really high hopes for this right now. It's at number 5. And then rounding out the top 10 right now, they got Tar, Top Gun Maverick, The Whale, She Said, and Avatar, The Way of Water. I'm going to briefly run through all of these. Tar's been getting incredible reviews right now. Todd Field hadn't directed a movie, I think, in 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. Cate Blanchett right now is the odds-on favorite for Best Actress. I could see this being a movie that gets edged out if there are more flashy flicks that come out later this year. As you can see, Black Panther Wakanda Forever isn't in the top 10 right now. I'm seeing that tonight. So the first movie in that franchise got nominated for Best Picture a couple years ago. If that movie hits home with audiences again, then it could very well take a spot here in the top 10. I don't know. Yeah, it seems like everyone enjoys the movie, but they're not saying that it's necessarily a Best Picture winner. But Tar, again, it's kind of similar to Women Talking or Banshees of Inisherin. It doesn't seem like a super flashy movie. I haven't seen it. I need to. I believe it's on a limited release right now, so I need to get in there before it actually gets out of theaters. But with Cate Blanchett as your star, it's going to have really good odds of getting a nomination here and being well represented on awards night. I think that's fairly safe for now. But Top Gun Maverick, I really hope this gets nominated because this thing was the biggest hit that we have had, or the most unexpected hit, I should say, that we've had since the pandemic started. Because we had Spider-Man No Way Home, we've had financially successful movies, but nothing quite like this, where it wasn't expected to be half as successful as it was. I think right now it's made $1.7 billion. And that's without even releasing in China. And for those of you that don't know, China is a huge market for movies. It wasn't allowed to be released over there. It still managed to gross $1.7 billion worldwide. It reignited people's love of going to the theaters who hadn't been in years. And I think for that reason, and I mean, it's a fantastic movie. Right now, it's in my top 3 of the year. For those reasons, I think it should get a nomination here. Will it win? No. No. Top Gun Maverick isn't going to win. It isn't going to win. It would be pretty awesome if it did, but I don't think it will. Even then, Everything Everywhere All at Once would probably beat it. But I like that it's still being included in the top 10 here. Hopefully the Academy doesn't get all, I guess, high and mighty and decide not to nominate this just because it's a franchise movie. They've been doing better about that in the years. Like I said, Black Panther got nominated not too long ago. So it has a really good chance at this point. Number 8, we have The Whale. That's the Darren Aronofsky movie starring Brendan Fraser. And they actually released the first trailer for this a couple of days ago, and it looks fantastic. This is an example of a movie that I could see having a big push going into awards season. Now, Aronofsky's movies haven't had the same sort of Academy buzz that they did even a decade ago. But I could see this reigniting the Academy's love for his films, and it seems like Brendan Fraser has just been the favorite for Best Actor for months. It's exciting to get an actual first look at the movie. It looks fantastic. I can't wait for it. This is something that I could see staying in here in the top 10. A lot of really good movies this year, guys. There are going to be snubs. But I'm excited that right now it's slated to be in there. Number 9 is a movie called She Said, and I probably know the least about this than any other movie on this list. From what I understand, it's supposed to be something along the lines of dealing with the Harvey Weinstein scandal. And for a movie like that, again, I don't know a whole lot about it. But if it's done well, I could see the Academy awarding it with a Best Picture nod, or at least a few technical nods if it is, again, good. And then number 10, Avatar: The Way of Water, I think is interesting. That got announced to have a 3-hour runtime as well earlier in the week. And James Cameron's been very outspoken about comic book movies lately. I don't think he's doing himself any favors reputation-wise, but here's the deal. I know that there are a lot of people that say that no one cares about Avatar, but we cannot forget that the first movie, the point of that, while the story's been done before, I understand that. The point of that movie is to get people excited to go to the theater and give them an experience that they cannot get anywhere else. And if he can do that again with The Way of Water, and this movie grosses $1 billion, I think it gets in. James Cameron, look at the guy's track record. He has literally never let us down as a filmmaker. So I'm excited for this movie. I hope that he delivers again. And if this thing does even half of what Avatar 1 did, it's going to be a huge success. That movie is the highest grossing film of all time. Whenever you adjust for inflation, it's not, but still, right now on paper it is. I mean, almost $3 billion at this point, with a few re-releases in there. So hopefully this movie's good. The visual effects look incredible. I can't wait to go see it on the biggest screen that I can. And I think that it's interesting that while people say, who cares about Avatar, right now it's at the number 10 spot. So people should not be sleeping on this. So let's look at a few of these. I'm not going to cover the ones that are 100-1 odds because there are a ton of them. You'll see whenever I scroll here in a sec. But a couple of the movies out here, I didn't see The Woman King because I was out of the country when it was released for a few weeks, and it wasn't released in the country that I was in, so I haven't seen it. I need to. I hear it's fantastic. Elvis, I don't think is going to get nominated here. That's Austin Butler's vehicle. Triangle of Sadness, I've heard a lot of good things about, but it doesn't seem like it's a Best Picture contender up to this point. Wakanda Forever, again, I'm seeing it tonight. We're going to see what it is. All Quiet on the Western Front is interesting. That is interesting there. I could see that getting into the top 10 because by all accounts, it's an amazing movie that's really, really hard to watch. Real bummer. But that's one that I think has better odds than number 15. Glass Onion, I've heard that's not as good as Knives Out. I've heard it's fantastic. But But if Knives Out didn't get nominated for Best Picture, I don't think that this will. It'll probably get a screenplay nod, if anything, like the first one. And then Empire of Light is the new Guillermo del Toro movie. By all accounts, it doesn't really live up to his previous work, so I don't think it's going to get in at this point, but we'll see. Okay, so I knew I had this wrong. Guillermo del Toro just didn't sound right. I meant to say Sam Mendes. I don't know why I had del Toro on the mind, but I was just thinking about, well, he just released Nightmare Alley last year. That doesn't sound quite correct. So it's Sam Mendes, the director of 1917, Skyfall, a bunch of movies. And right now, as you can see, it's at a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not really indicative of a Best Picture winner, or even a Best Picture nominee, I should say. Roger Deakins is the cinematographer, so I mean, it probably looks fantastic, and it has Olivia Colman in the lead. I don't know. I don't know why it's slated this high at 72-1 odds. I would imagine that it's going to go down to the 100-1 odd club here. But here, before I get on to Best Director, let me just pick something from Best Picture that I think has an outside shot, just a shot in the dark. Right now, it's slated to not have a chance. The Northman would be awesome if that got nominated. I don't think it will, though. Let's see. One of the actors for Broker is a someone to look at for Best Actor. Sorry. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gains some traction if the movie is also fantastic. The Academy's been doing really good at nominating foreign films in this category, as well as directors in the Best Director category. So I wouldn't be shocked if that gets a nod here, actually. So, Broker. All right, now we got Best Director, and as expected, Steven Spielberg right now is on the top of this list. Most everyone predicting him to win. Again, if The Fabelmans manages to maintain its momentum, then I don't see any reason why he couldn't win this. It could just be a career award for him. He's already won a few Oscars, but if this movie comes out, everyone loves it, and it keeps that momentum all through award season, it seems like Spielberg's award to lose at this point. Sarah Polley, the director of Women Talking. Again, I don't really know too much about the movie. But if it's as good as people are saying it is, then I don't see a reason why she can't get nominated here. Right now, she has really great odds, just under Steven, so there you go. I really want the Daniels team to get nominated for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that they did so much with their direction of that movie. That movie seems like an impossible task to direct. So props to those guys. They seem like real visionaries. I can't wait to see what they do next. And at this point, I would lock him in at Best Director. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't get nominated here. Really masterful work from those two. Damien Chazelle, former winner for La La Land here. Kind of going back to what I said before, if Babylon comes out and it's a huge spectacle that people love, then he'll get nominated. It'll probably get nominated for a slew of awards, including technical stuff. So Chazelle right now, it really just depends on how good the movie is. Doesn't come out for another month and a half, so we have yet to see, but I'm excited to see his name up there. He's a really talented director, and he's young too. He's like in his late 30s, early 40s. So many more movies to come from that guy. Then at number 5 is Todd Field for Tar. He hasn't made a movie in almost 15 years, so I could easily see him being someone that gets edged out for someone like James Cameron if Avatar The Way of Water comes out and it's a spectacle like the first Avatar. Maybe Martin McDonagh, who's been snubbed for this award before. The most glaring omission is for 3 Billboards, which I thought was an incredible movie. And so I could see him finally getting a nod from the Academy here. We got the director of Triangle of Sadness, Decision to Leave. Like I said before with the Best Picture nominees, the Academy has been doing really good lately at nominating foreign directors, and even if their movies aren't up for Best Picture. So I haven't seen Decision to Leave, but the fact that this guy is in the running right now, I think really benefits him. Then we have the director of The Woman King there, as well as Alejandro González Iñárritu. One of my favorite directors. I don't know anything about the movie that he's releasing. I think it's interesting that he is releasing a movie this year, but it's not in the talks for Best Picture at this point. That's really interesting because I think he has at least made two of the best movies of the 2010s in The Revenant and Birdman. So there's a lot of movement that could happen in this category. Right now, I think the top three is really solid, and you can kind of take that to the bank. But the rest is just kind of indicative on how good the movies are. If Chazelle comes out with another La La Land, he is definitely going to get in there. But there's a lot of politics that could happen between edging Todd Field out, getting McDonough up there, who's been snubbed before. James Cameron, again, if Avatar, this 3-hour film that is very visual effects heavy, comes out and it's incredible like the first one, he could very well get in there. He's also a former winner. Let's look at some people that are 100 to 1 odds. I think Darren Aronofsky has a great chance here if The Whale comes out and it's remarkable. The trailer looks great. The director of All Quiet on the Western Front is out here. That's a movie that I could see gaining a lot of traction. It seems to have the respect of everyone who's seen it up to this point, so I think that he definitely deserves better odds than 100 to 1. Anyone else in here? Ryan Coogler for Wakanda Forever. Let's see. Yeah, for sure. Olivia Wilde's getting nominated for Don't Worry, Darling. Come on, guys. I don't think that movie was absolutely terrible. I would say it's like a 4 out of 10. It just seems a little sloppy to me. A lot of interesting ideas that don't have a whole lot of payoff. But oh my god, can you imagine if Olivia Wilde got nominated? That'd be something. I'm gonna give my outside shot to let's give it to the director of All Quiet on the Western Front, because I really think that movie has been getting a lot of great word of mouth. It sucks that it hasn't been giving a full theatrical release, similar to a movie like 1917. I think that just serves a grand spectacle like that a lot better, a war type of movie. But I'm going to give him the odds to come in there from the outside. Now, getting into the actor categories, we're going to start off with Best Actress. Cate Blanchett is right now the odds-on favorite. And while she's heavily predicted to win over Michelle Yeoh, they're getting about the same number of nomination predictions here. So I think both of these two are the locks at this point. Michelle Yeoh has retained this sort of momentum through the entire year. I don't see a reason why she shouldn't get nominated. I think that she's a serious contender to win. But anytime Cate Blanchett comes out with a movie, the Academy's going to pay attention. She's won the award a couple of times already. It seems like she's being poised for this to be her third. But it doesn't seem like Tar has been really doing well with audiences right now. And that's kind of predictable. It's a movie about a composer. So it's not going to make the same sort of money that a Black Adam or Wakanda Forever is going to make. But apparently she's fantastic in it. Anytime Cate Blanchett is great in a movie, she's going to be a contender for an Oscar. But right now, those two I think are pretty solid bets there in the top two spots. Then rounding out the top five, they've got Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, Danielle Deadwyler for Till, and Margot Robbie for Babylon. Michelle Williams, I think, has really great odds here to get nominated. If The Fabelmans is the crowd pleaser that everyone says it is, I'm sure that she'll get nominated here. She's been nominated before. The Academy is no stranger to her. I don't think at this point she's a real contender to win. I think that she would fare a lot better in the supporting actress category. I'm not sure why she's not being pushed there. It wouldn't be the first time someone who is borderline a lead role is pushed into a supporting category in order to win. You can look at Viola Davis for Fences back in 2016. Well, the 2017 ceremony. So it wouldn't surprise me there if Michelle Williams gets nominated but doesn't end up being a real contender to win. Danielle Deadwyler is apparently incredible until the only thing working against her is the movie just hasn't really gained a lot of momentum with audiences. It seems like everyone loves it, but just people aren't going out to see it. It's a really hard movie to go out and watch. And if she delivers a great performance in a movie that's actually important like that, I could very well see her getting nominated here. And then at 5, Margot Robbie. She's been nominated a couple times already. It's a matter for me if Babylon ends up being a fantastic film. If it's fantastic and she's in the lead role, I feel like she'll get nominated here. The Academy doesn't really snub her whenever she's fantastic in a movie. But I could see her maybe getting edged out by someone like a Naomi Ackie, who is playing Whitney Houston in I Want to Dance with Somebody. That comes out in mid-December. She looks incredible in it, and the Academy is a real fan of awarding actors who play a real-life musician in a biopic type of thing. So I could see it being a case of, Margot Robbie doesn't really have a chance to win at this point, but Naomi Ackie hasn't been nominated before. Maybe we recognize her over Margot Robbie. The Academy can't really get down in a room and make that decision. It's composed of like 10,000 members at this point. It's not like the small boardroom of people making decisions anymore. So it's gonna have to be a decision made by the vast majority of the Academy, but I could very well see that happening. Viola Davis is still in there for The Woman King. Certainly whenever she's in a movie and she's great in it and the movie's good, she's always going to have a shot. She's Viola Davis. The Woman King doesn't appear to have gained a whole lot of traction with audiences over here. But if Margot Robbie loses some steam, Viola Davis could very well fit in there. Maybe she takes a spot of a Danielle Deadweiler. Who knows? It's almost too early to tell at this point. Olivia Colman, I doubt it. She's one of the best actresses alive, but Empire of Light, it hasn't been getting good reviews. I just don't see it happening. Jennifer Lawrence, I don't know enough about that performance. I believe it's coming on Apple TV. So I don't know at this point. Ana de Armas, she's not getting nominated. People didn't like Blonde. If people like your movie, it is going to help you get nominated. And if people don't like your movie, but you are great in it, you have worse odds to get in there for a nomination at the Oscars, and that's just the way it is, whether you agree with it or not. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So let's take a look at some of the people on the outside here that have a shot. Let's see. Who's going to be my outside favorite? I would love if Anya Taylor-Joy got nominated for an Oscar. She's been putting in great work over the last few years. I'm excited to see The Menu. I bet that she's really good in it. So yeah, she's going to be my outside favorite here to kind of sneak in there that has 100-1 odds right now. Okay, so let's look at Best Actor, and this seems like it's already been wrapped up at this point. It seems like Brendan Fraser's award to lose, which on one hand, I hate that we kind of come to these decisions as an audience of, we're going to give that guy the Oscar several months out before even some of these performances have been portrayed on the screen. But I don't like that because it's not conducive of a real meritocracy in Hollywood. But when has Hollywood ever been a real meritocracy? But on the other hand, I love that it's Brendan Fraser, and if he is legitimately great in the movie, what a comeback story to come in with this performance and win an Oscar. Fully fulfilling his arc here. And coming back to the mainstream. If he ends up winning, how could you feel bad for that guy? I mean, come on. He's the guy who fought the Mummy in 1999. And with everything that he's been through in his personal life, I love that he's getting this sort of attention. The videos of him getting a standing ovation at Cannes are so heartwarming. If you ever just if you're having a terrible day and you need to feel better, just look up Brendan Fraser getting a standing ovation. It'll make you feel better. At this point, not only is he a lock to get nominated, I think he's a lock to win. I mean, these numbers are just ridiculous at this point. Then at number 2, they got Colin Farrell. I said it before, he's fantastic. He's fantastic in The Banshees of Inisherin. I think that he has a fantastic chance of getting nominated here. Only reason I could see him getting edged out is if somebody comes in the back couple months of the year with a flashy performance and they decided to go with that over someone who's a little bit more subtle. But I don't see them snubbing Farrell. And then Austin Butler there at 3. He's had momentum since June. So I think that he gets nominated here. I don't think he'll win, but I think he's at least a lock to get nominated. Then with the 4 and 5 slots, it gets really interesting. I said it before, but Song Kang-ho, he was in Parasite a couple years ago, and right now he has a chance of getting nominated, and I think that he's someone very well that could swoop in there and get one of the final 2 spots. Diego Calva for Babylon, again, if that movie comes out and it's a huge success, I could very well see him slipping in there. By all accounts, while The Sun as a movie isn't great, Hugh Jackman is incredible in it. And people like rewarding good people. So I could very much see someone like Hugh Jackman getting a nomination for a movie that wasn't very good. I can't really judge it because I haven't seen it. But I could very well see him getting nominated here. Bill Nye for Living. I'm going to be honest, I know absolutely nothing about that performance. So we'll see. Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick. Look, I love Top Gun Maverick as much as anybody. Tom Cruise, best actor? I don't know, guys. That would be pushing it a little bit. I don't think he'll get nominated here, but if it's a really light category this year, which it kind of looking like it's gonna be, seems like it's wrapped up for Brendan Fraser at this point. Who knows? Maybe he gets in there. Let's look at some of the guys on the outside here. Will Smith's not getting nominated, y'all. Stop that. He's not getting... Even if he's fantastic in Emancipation, there's just no way that they nominate him the year after The Slap. Just no. Which is too bad, because that movie looks really good. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who's an outstanding director. But no. Will Smith is not getting nominated there. The Academy will veto that. Let's see. Who has an outside shot here? Alexander Skarsgård for The Northman would be awesome to see nominated, but it's not going to happen. Or I don't think it'll happen. There's not really, again, it's kind of a light category this year. You know, I'll give the outside shot to Alexander Skarsgård. Who knows? Maybe it can get a resurgence during award season. You never know. All right, now getting into the supporting categories. In the top 5, we got Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy, both for Women Talking. Carrie Condon in The Banshees of Inisherin. Stephanie Hsu in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And Hong Chow for The Whale. So let's go down the line here. I'm a little surprised they have Jessie Buckley over Claire Foy. I would imagine that Claire Foy is a little bit more marketable for the studio to push in this category just because people know her. She's been in major movies for a few years now. She was obviously in The Crown. Very good in that. The 5th season actually just came out. I need to give that a watch. But maybe Jessie Buckley is just that good in Women Talking to be the odds-on favorite at this point. She has substantially more votes to win than Claire Foy at this point. So maybe I need to go see the movie, and maybe she just blows the roof off the place. She got nominated last year, so I wouldn't be shocked if she got nominated again and maybe even won. But just interesting that they have her over Claire Foy. Carrie Condon, she's a really great supporting role in Banshees of Inisherin. I said it in my review, but you very much get the sense that she does not feel like she is the side character in this. Like, she has her own story that she's going to progress through. And she had a lot to accomplish. It's a performance that I could see being overlooked come Academy time. Kind of similar to the lady from Belfast. I forgot her name off the top of my head, but she got snubbed and I thought that she was outstanding. I could see the same thing happening for Carrie Condon here. I hope she gets nominated. She was very good. But the person that I want to get nominated the most is Stephanie Hsu. I think that's how you say her last name. One of my roommates in college had the same last name, so I'm going to go by how I pronounce his name. She was fantastic in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I would even go as far to say as she stole several scenes in there, which is hard to do with Michelle Yeoh delivering that good of a performance. But I hope that she gets nominated. I would love it if she won, but that's hard to say at this point because I've only seen one other performance from the 5 in the top 5 at this point. But I think that if she doesn't get nominated, it's a huge upset. I would love to see her get nominated and maybe even be a better contender to win. Then Hong Chow for The Whale. By all accounts, she's incredible in that movie. And she was in the running to get nominated for Downsizing a few years ago. I I I do my best not to trash on movies, but I hated Downsizing. But she was probably the best part about that movie. If she's great in The Whale, I could very well see her getting nominated here. If The Whale is one of those movies like A Nightmare Alley that just starts racking up all of these nominations into various different categories and the Academy's just really high on it, then she very well has great odds here. Carey Mulligan, for She Said, the Academy loves her. I could see her fitting in there, maybe snubbing in or subbing in for Carrie Condon if they end up snubbing her. We'll see. Jamie Lee Curtis, I love that she's this high, but I mean, it's a fun performance. I don't think it's a Academy Award nomination type of performance. If she got nominated, hey, I'm a Jamie Lee Curtis fan. I'll allow it, but as long as she's not bumping out Stephanie Hsu, I would riot if that happened. Jean Smart, Babylon, haven't seen it. Nina Haas. Let's see. There's a lot of people in the running here. I've seen a lot of things that have Angela Bassett actually in there at the 5. She very well could fit in there as well. It seems like everyone loves her performance in Wakanda Forever. One of those legacy actors that's just been great for decades at this point and is sort of due for some recognition in Hollywood right now. I very well could see her fitting in there, and I would bet that her odds get a lot higher than this. I bet that she gets in there at the number 7 spot the next time that this updates, now that the movie's actually out and people love her performance. Sadie Sink, gotta love her inclusion here. I thought that she was the best actor in the latest season of Stranger Things, which is pretty high praise considering I think that there are a lot of great performances on that show, but I thought that she stole the show. I love that she's diversifying her portfolio, getting into more stuff here. Seems like a lot of people like her. Who knows? Again, with Hong Chow, if The Whale starts racking up a lot of performances, maybe they throw her in there as well. Okay, so, let's do someone who's on the outside here that I think has a shot. Let's see. Who do we got here? Keke Palmer was good to note, but she's not going to get nominated for that. Let's see. Is there really anyone in here? I'm not really seeing anyone in here right now, but I just got to pick someone, anyone at all. Let's go with Lashana Lynch for The Woman King. I haven't seen it again, but I like Lashana Lynch, so let's just go with her. Okay, so Best Supporting Actor now. We got Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Love to see him in the top spot. Then we got Brendan Gleeson, Ben Whishaw, Paul Dano, and Judd Hirsch. Ke Huy Quan, I would love to see him win. I think that of the performances here that I have seen so far, which isn't very many, but from those performances, he has been the best. And I think that he has a great story. Retired from acting for a really long time. Came back to do this movie after seeing Crazy Rich Asians. And he absolutely killed it in the movie. I think that this movie has a lot of great performances between him, Michelle Yeoh, and Stephanie Hsu. All three of them have a chance to win come awards night. I think Ke Huy Quan has the best shot right now, and it seems like he's by far the odds-on favorite. He had a lot to do in the movie. He hadn't acted for a long time. I could see them rewarding him, and it would be rightfully placed, too, because he's outstanding in the movie. I don't have an issue with him winning. Brendan Gleeson is fantastic as usual in The Banshees of Inisherin, playing a really unlikable character, but in a realistic way for the most part, because he's not just a total stick in the mud. He has glimpses of happiness. Like, he's not a totally angry guy. He's just very focused in this sort of heightened reality of the movie, and he's not afraid to go to certain lengths to cut some people out of his life, if you know what I mean. Ben Whishaw, by all accounts, is great in Women Talking. I could see him getting nominated here for sure. Again, I haven't seen the movies, so we'll have to see. The Fabelmans, I think it's interesting that they have 2 actors here. I can't overstate how difficult it is to get multiple nominations in a single category. It's happened several times in history, But if you look at it percentage-wise, it's really difficult because the studio has to spend the money to push both of these guys to the Academy. And if they're left with a choice between the two, I think Paul Dano's had a fantastic year. Surely he's great in the movie, but I could see them awarding Judd Hirsch just for the sake of his career thus far. I think he's been nominated once before. I might be wrong there. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. But I could see them having to choose someone here. And if neither of them really have a chance to win, maybe just put in Judd Hirsch and put in a Brad Pitt over Paul Dano. I don't know. It seems like Brad Pitt has a really showy performance in Babylon, and he just won in this category a few years ago, so he very well could get in there and get nominated. I think Barry Keoghan is a scene stealer in Banshees, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of scenes in the movie. Now, that hasn't been a deterrent for people to get nominated in this before. I mean, Judd Hirsch apparently is just in a couple scenes in The Fabelmans, but if you're someone who's as young as Keoghan is, I could see it really hurting him at this stage, but nonetheless, I think that he's really great in Banshees. I wouldn't be upset if he got nominated here. Let's look at a few of the people on the outside. I already addressed Brad Pitt. Brian Tyree Henry, I'm a huge fan of his. If Causeway comes out and it's good, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be nominated. Eddie Redmayne, former winner for The Good Nurse. I don't know a whole lot about that movie. We'll see. And then Empire of Light for Michael Ward. Again, Empire of Light just hasn't really had a whole lot of steam. So I don't see it. I need to see the movie. Maybe if he's outstanding, he has a chance. And then let's take a look at 100-1 odds here. Yeah, you got Miles Teller for Top Gun Maverick. I don't think that'll happen. Ray Fiennes for The Menu is actually interesting. That's really interesting because the movie looks great. He is fantastic in everything he's in. It seems like he has a lot to do in that movie. I don't know if 100-1 odds is correct for this guy. I think he has way better odds than that. I'm gonna slam this. I'm gonna say Ray Fiennes could very well sneak in there in the top 5 at this point. All right, so that was just me going through a few of the major categories for a bit. I go through this every once in a while, so I figured why not record and give some dialogue on my thoughts on this. I get really excited about the Oscars whenever they come around every year, and a whole lot can change here. We're just in mid-November. A lot of these movies haven't come out. But again, I just thought this would be an interesting video. Let me know if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more. And it's been a blast to see so many of you come on in the last month or so. Welcome if you're new to the channel. It's exciting to talk about this stuff. This is probably going to end up being a long video at this point. So thank you if you've made it to this point. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.